Hi, my name is Cecil Mittoo. Welcome to my presentation on Universal Design for Learning. The topic is sharing ideas and building resources. Our school system has become more promising for our K-12 population, even when there is an increase in population and the diverse challenges for learners exist. On the low end of the challenges, we have students who have physical and emotional issues. On the upper end, we have the talented and gifted children and those who show IQ levels above average. This suggests across-the-board challenges for our teachers. But whether it's an online study program or traditional face-to-face class, there are strategies and resources that can help diverse learners to have worthwhile and meaningful learning. Our education system is anchored to learning theories, educational philosophies, and educational technology. The learning theories gives a broad perspective of theories that tells how learning is believed to take place. Consequently, this leads to curriculum development. Instructional technology focuses on the instructional design that was once more controlled by learning theories. We have moved away from teacher-centered instructions, where the teacher was the dispenser of all knowledge, to student-centered learning, where the student is the focus of learning. Consequently, the focus is on how all students learn, and a deeper level investigation looks at how the individual student learns. The idea is to develop learning experiences that fits into the student's learning profile. This includes strengths, weaknesses or challenges, interests, preferences, readiness, learning styles, and even to look deeper into the child's culture. So teachers are able to develop a learning profile for students that matches their psychosocial and educational profile. The science of the brain with respect to cognitive processing of information offers information on strategic, recognition, and affective learning network. Information technology has evolved with educational technology to assist and support learning technology. The focus of this presentation is to share ideas of learning systems development, and the concepts that have grown and is flourishing for millennial learners. Ultimately, we will look at Universal Design for Learning, UDL, and its conceptual framework and its anchoring elements. Inspiration for UDL. Dr. David Rose is the co-founder for Universal Design for Learning, or what is also known as Learning by Design. UDL is learning curriculum that seeks to include elements in design from the onset that gives learners a choice of tool and resource that will enable all learners to be engaged in worthwhile and meaningful learning. The design is from the onset, and this comes about from architecture. Buildings were being designed with construction features that catered only for abled individuals. However, this inconvenienced people who were disabled and relied on assistive technology such as wheelchairs to move about. Facilitating for everyone would mean modification to buildings to include ramps, elevators, and so on. But while it was possible to make modifications, it proved costly, time-consuming, and inconvenient. When possibilities are placed into designs, everyone is facilitated for and feels a sense of belonging. Disabled individuals no longer feel alienated or disabled. The reality is that individuals are who they are because an accident, uncontrolled chemistry, biology, culture, lifestyle, and so on was no fault of their own. UDL was originally meant for working with disabled students. However, the positive impact of learning environment, not just for enabling the disabled, but across the curriculum for social, academic, and emotional control, and opening new horizons for talented and gifted students, UDL has earned its credibility for a wider acceptance. The three neural brain networks. Rose et al. 2002 believes the brain consists of interconnected networks that are responsible for three kinds of learning process. Each learner responds differently for each process, even for the same presentation of instructions. The network processes are recognition, strategic, and affective. These networks carry distributed learning styles. Learning experiences and materials for individuals should fit within suitable response condition for maximum learning impact. The recognition network is shown to coexist in the same area of the brain with strategic network. Rose et al. Elicits emotions like recognition and strategy belongs to the circumscribed network within the brain. The network interpretive procedure makes sense in a logical order of how the human brain deciphers symbols in a meaningful way. All three network processes are prompted by the sense of seeing, listening, smelling, tasting, and touching, and are associated with intrinsic emotional intuition and vision in the form of mental comprehension. Recognition network. Recognizing objects are foremost important for knowing what field of understanding and association should follow. An example of not being able to recognize an object might be due to a student having vision problems. The kind of technology that can help a student with vision problem is assistive or adaptive technology. Depending on the kind of vision problem that prevents recognition, technology to aid vision includes glare reduction screens, screen magnifiers, and braille note-taking devices that enable visually impaired students to participate more fully. The technology for helping recognition might also be for improving sound for hearing, and technology for improving other senses such as taste, smell, and touch. Multimedia design reducing overload such as segmenting can help students to recognize material or process in simple steps. Also, presenting learning material decoded by vision and audio becomes useful for recognizing network. Strategic network. Strategic networks works in tandem with recognition network. Strategic network trips in to determine how best to utilize the learning material or object in a meaningful way. An example of how the strategic network works is the way supportive technology helps students to explore some combination of computing environments, multimedia, and human-computer interaction. Talented and gifted students who have an aptitude to explore robotics and figure out how things work utilize their strategic brain network. It is through strategic network that we plan, execute, and monitor our internal generated mental and motor patterns. Strategic networks function for social and academic tasks, both informally and formally. Deciding what to do and how to do things are what we do every day, consciously or not. Strategic network helps to plan and execute actions. Affective network. Affective network helps us to attach emotional significance to objects materials, and actions, influencing what we do with what our senses recognizes through seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, and so on. Affective network prioritizes for why we must continue to learn a task or remember important information. An example of how the affective network determines if one will continue with learning a task is to put the benefits ahead of doing something. If there is no purpose of achievement, then affective network is demotivated and become unresponsive. Students learn to use compensatory technology, such as the calculator for doing simpler math functions, allowing students to focus on more advanced math content. Other ways that affective network supports instructional methods is with the use of compensating tools for project or product development. For presentation, this will include tools like PowerPoint, Excel, publishers, or even the simple Microsoft programs. The central role of technology in universal design for learning. Technology plays a central role for UDL. Technology reaches into all students via the internet and World Wide Web, inside the classroom, in multiple of learning programs, streaming programs, the use of software and other digital tools that would otherwise prevent or make information technology limited to learners, even with the best UDL program design. Innovative technologies are understood in two broad categories. These are known as assistive or adaptive technology and learning support or supportive technology. Bray et al. 2004 elicits assistive or adaptive technology help a person with common task or make something physically accessible that would be inaccessible otherwise. Assistive technology includes voice recognition, software for transforming audio to screenwriting. There is visually transforming software that allows students to focus on letters and commands on screen for controlling the computer. There are screens that are designed to improve viewing by magnifying and glare reduction. Keyboards are designed with brailled keys for the visually impaired to be able to type documents. There are hearing aids that help students to participate in audio-only programs. Along with the mouse, there are alternative input devices such as trackball. The keyboard can be modified to touchscreen and rate input controllers to assist students with various disabilities. These include disabilities such as spinal, blindness, dyslexia, and so on. Unlike assistive technology, supportive technology for situations outside the classroom. Supportive technology addresses issues in the learning curriculum. Supportive technology provides extra help for students in three ways. These include remediation learning, compensation as alternatives for cognitive tools, and provides for extension for doing further research and exploration. Some software is designed to assist students with social disabilities, such as autism. Compensating technology tools help students to accomplish tasks, such as word processing. Calculators help to simplify math operations and functions. Extension software will help gifted and talented students with challenges and rewarding experiences, such as creating videos or multimedia presentations. The Internet and the World Wide Web help to explore further content and gather more information. This would otherwise be impractical because of geographical and astrological location and scientific or lab work. Some fiction design programming and robotics help students see and use computer as a medium for creating their own digital presentation from specially designed softwares. Potential impact of universal design on student learning. Universal design for learning will have a massive impact on student learning in my organization. UDL requires a comprehensive design of the learning culture in the organization. This means that all members of the faculty will be trained to design lesson plans that are inclusive of UDL practices. By including UDL in lesson design, students will benefit by finding a learning fit that they become motivated to work with. Teachers are currently using the problem-based learning, which holds 4 main areas that UDL via technology can be integrated. Essentially, students use the game plan for working on authentic learning experiences. But all this must be supported by technology that enables adoption by students to carry out research and apply meaningful learning as personal development and in preparation for doing exams by the state. Technology variety for assistive and supportive learning gives students choices in different ways that their knowledge, understanding, and skills can be demonstrated. For example, instead of having only the option of a single technology, students might be instructed to complete a task in the form of storyboard creation, PowerPoint, publishers, and Microsoft Office document portfolio. All students can now learn to overcome difficulties in accessing, using, and creating their work via technology from the onset of lesson designs. Students have the option of working alone or with a team on the design of their product. All of these possible technology and many more not described here will have 2 primary purposes. 1, to ensure maximum growth for the full range of learners in achieving important curricular outcome, and to provide flexible yet valuable experience and evidence of supporting understanding. With success in mastering important ideas and skills comes a whole spin-off of other benefits. Among these are a sense of self-efficacy and appreciation of the power of technology and knowledge, and a realization of the power of achievement as a learner, and a sense of belonging and contribution to a community. As UDL benefits each student is treated with dignity and respect. Each student feels safe and valued in the classroom. Each student makes meaningful contribution to the work and of the group. There is balanced emphasis on individuals and the group as a whole. Students work together collaboratively. Students are grouped, flexible to ensure attention to both their similarities and to the differences from peers. Evidence will indicate that varied student perspectives are sought and various approaches to learning are honored. The big idea and essential question are essential to the work of the students, the classroom activity, and the norms and culture of the classroom. There will be high expectations and incentives for each student to learn the big ideas and answer the essential questions. All students have respectful work, and that is task and assessment, focus on what matters most in the curriculum. Tasks structured to necessitate high-level thinking, and tasks that are equally appealing and engaging to learners. The big ideas, essential questions, and criteria for scoring rubrics will be posted. Samples and models of student work will be made possible and posted on the display board. The brain and learning differences. The human brain is the powerhouse for cognitive processing of information. processing knowledge, knowledge building, and regulating our psychomotor skills or physical activities. To speak of learning differences requires references from reputable organizations and studies. Differences in learning can be caused from diverse learning disabilities. According to information from Greater Washington Educational Telecommunications Association 2012, a learning disability is a neurological disorder and learning disabilities which results from a difference in the way a person's brain is wired. It is believed that children with learning disabilities are as smart or smarter than their peers. Interestingly, it is said that a learning disability can't be cured or fixed. It is a lifelong issue. Therefore, there need to be the right learning support and intervention. According to the National Institute of Health, about 1 of 7 Americans has some type of learning disabilities. The most common learning disabilities were identified with basic reading and language skills. It is important to note that learning disabilities is not disabilities such as mental retardation, autism, deafness, blindness, and behavioral disorders, nor are children who are learning English language have learning disabilities, nor attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, though ADHD and learning disabilities may occur at the same time. Learning differences in the brain will surface with common learning disabilities. These include dyslexia, which is a language-based disability where children have problems understanding written words, and this is known as reading disability. Dyscalculia, which is a mathematical disorder identified with difficulty solving arithmetic problems or grasping math concepts. Dysgraphia, associated with forming letters or writing within a confined space. Auditory and visual processing disorders are sensory disabilities where a person has difficulty understanding language despite normal hearing and vision. Nonverbal learning disorder, which is a neurological disorder which originates in the right side hemisphere of the brain, causing problems with visual, spatial, intuitive, organization, evaluative, and holistic processing functions. Learning disabilities transform into learning differences across the board, inclusive of all students and their performance in a particular subject, skill, or skill area. This is also interpreted in strengths and weaknesses and intelligence kind. This is also reflected in neurology of brain networks such as recognition, strategic, and affective. The disabilities are not removable, but in increasing the abilities, we make references to the removal of barriers. Ultimately, UDL and its multifaceted of technologies can help all learners, disabled or otherwise, to improve their learning. Implications of UDL for culture, ethnic, linguistic, and academic diversity. Academic, social, and emotional development is the role of UDL for all students. These are cognitive and pragmatic developmental paths for learners, but the diverse background of students' culture does not prescribe a singular teaching strategy for all. Culture is unique in its ethnic and linguistic forms. We recognize that students come to class with diverse academic background, and this must be discovered for each student in catering for diverse learning and instructional plans. Developing a learning profile is a tedious task, but also a necessary one. The teacher carries out deep-level investigations into students' cultural norms understanding weaknesses, strengths, learning styles, readiness, and motivations to pursue multiple strategies for worthwhile and meaningful learning. UDL planning anticipates students' cultural learning needs and plans with technology to remove barriers of learning. Technology as a tool and process allows us to reach out into the depth of culture where information is available in linguistic forms. When students learn from symbols, artifacts, and their personal knowledge, they gain confidence in their learning to develop and reinforce new knowledge. Understanding resonates in ethnic and linguistic forms of culture, while it provides a comfort zone for learners. UDL relies on technology to bridge the learning gap for cultural divide. The Internet and World Wide Web caters for cultural diversity, for access and information in multiple languages. UDL utilizes assistive and supportive technology for academic diversity. There are learning tools and programs that have transformed the learning barriers. UDL utilizes assistive technology such as translation software that converts text and spoken words in a wide variety of ways. Text can become audible, the spoken words can become visible, and one language can be translated into another. Students with some kind of physical or cognitive impairments and students with communication disorder will find text-to-speech software useful. The Hyper Studio program is popular among elementary age students and their teachers, and it also has a built-in text-to-speech. The translation program called Blabbermouth programs such as text-to-speech software can be used to read back text. This enables an output file to be stored on the computer or can be saved in MP3 format for downloading into a portable player such as iPad. Software are created in user-friendly formats. The user can provide corrective feedback to the software as part of software training. The more an individual uses the software, the better the software is able to translate speech to text. The same principle that is used to create speech-to-text software are applied to voice recognition programs. In all, there are many programs and software that is facilitating for cultural, ethnic, linguistic, and academic diversity. Three cast online tools and resources for enhancing my organization. UDL lesson plan templates and builders are designed for curriculum development for most major subjects in the curriculum. The lessons are designed for lesson levels K to 8 grades. The lesson builder will provide my faculty with models and tools for creating and adapting lessons that increases students' access and participation in the general education for all students. Some features of the UDL lesson plan are anticipatory set, which shares goals and objectives. The use of response card and assistive technology is used. New knowledge is strategically included. Students are provided with guided practice, then independent practice. The lesson presents information in multiple of ways for content so that the style of presentation appeals to the learner and will have best result. There is formative or ongoing evaluation such as format for class discussion and volunteer comments. The aim is to provide direction, correct any errors, and affirm success. Summative evaluation check for accurate cause and effect relationships. Cause like vocabulary, technology, and graphics. Another CAST UDL online resource is the UDL Book Builder. Teachers are able to develop their personal books in digital format to include students' learning profile with positive reading guide. Teachers are able to create, edit, and save creditable resource text. They can also create animated characters to excite learners as they write text to choose images and develop scripts and prompts. Book creation includes important pointers and hints and model scenarios to explain information in more detail. Audio is also possible for the UDL book design. A third UDL online resource is the WiggleWorks. WiggleWorks integrates technology, literature, and instructor support. WiggleWorks New Edition software combines powerful technology with leveled books and instructional material to develop reading, writing, and language skills necessary for future reading success. WiggleWorks helps instructors to scaffold instructions and advance all primary learners towards reducing and remaining independent. Students can practice, record, and listen to their own reading. WiggleWorks books are mixed with both fiction and non-fiction works that relates to authentic theme and storytelling.